He said, it is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto His name, O Most High. He said, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. He said, upon an instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery, upon the harp and the solemn sound. For thou, O Lord, hast made me glad through thy work, and I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. You know, the Lord thinks upon you. The Lord looks down and considers where we're at this morning. The Bible declares, the righteous shall flourish like a palm tree, and he shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. And those that are planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of God. I had a person tell me just the other day, they came and got what they needed for 2 weeks, and then they took off to be gone for a few weeks. And now all hell is crashing down on them.
Right.
And they're saying, Pastor Jim, I've never seen it on this fashion. And the young girl is a mother of 2 little girls, and she's upset at her mother because her mom has probably given her a dose of medicine, probably. I don't know. The bottom line, though, is this. God knows exactly where we're at. And when we're planted in the courts of the Lord, the house of God, we will flourish. God said it to be so. We will flourish. I've realized it my 16 years and being in ministry. I've realized what it's like to be barren and to be having everything. To be up on the mountaintop and be so low in the valley, I had to look up to see the bottom. I've been there through it all. But God has never left me nor forsaken me. He said He would always be there when everyone else would turn their back on me. He was there. David knew what he was talking about when he says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Thy rod and thy staff, they do comfort me. Do you know that a rod and a staff is for correction? It's supposed to hurt you. It's like your mama beating you saying, I love you. No, you don't. Yes, I do. It's hurting me more than it hurts you. I don't think so. But at the time when she's all said and done, you realize that Mom and Daddy did love you. They just had to correct you. And that's what God does. There's no difference. And so this morning, we're going to worship God in our giving. And as our ushers are coming this morning, I want to share a little. I read a comic strip. I was with my mentor. And I was with him, and he says, read this, Pastor Jim. Read this comic strip. And I started reading it, and it was a guy who was going to buy this brand new TV at Best Buy. And he gets there, and this TV is like $3,000. And the man says, well, we can finance this for you, and your interest rate will be 21.33%, and your payments on this will be $250 a week. And he's like, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Where do I sign? So he signs and he gets that TV. Then all of a sudden he goes and he's buying a car. And he loves this car, and it's a $30,000 car. And the guy tells him, well, we can finance this for you. And before he can even get that out, where do I sign? I'm ready. And the man goes, well, it's going to be at least 12%. And your payment on this nice luxury vehicle will be $672.83. He goes, where do I sign? I'm ready. Where do I sign? He signs, he gets his new car. He goes for this new brand new house. And the house is beautiful. The house is $200,000. And then all of a sudden the mortgage broker says, well, we can mortgage this for you for 30 years. He goes, where do I sign? Where do I sign? I'm so excited. Where do I sign? And the man goes, well, let me just share this with you. It's going to be at least 5.75%. Your payment on this nice luxury home is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1,200 a month. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? So he signs. He's so anxious to sign his life away. And all of a sudden he comes to church. The pastor says, well, it's time for the offering. And It's only 10% that God required. The man goes, that's suicide. I can't believe that you would ask for that. And he stomps out. But we're willing to sign our life away for everything else. The moral of the story is this. We'll sign our life away for everything that is meaningless. But we won't even invest where God said, wherein do we rob Him? In our tithe and offering. 10%. And then let me break this down for you. Because I'm not about the money. I want to share something. The vision of this local church is this. I want to share a vision with you quickly. We cannot continue to operate in this little building. God has given me a vision that we will be in this for one more year and we have to move because God has taken us to a different level, a different place. But it takes faithfulness on all of our parts. Now this is the other thing He showed me. We cannot operate with our children's church in there any longer. Because as families are coming in, 30 kids can fit in there, and that's just way overboard. They can't really minister to them like we want to effectively. There's 2 open spots here right now. Tomorrow I get a phone call on how much they're going to charge me or charge this church and to be able to take one of those 2 spots. One is 1,500 square feet, which really equates to an additional $1,500 normal rate. I'm going to say, you're crazy. We're not paying $1,500. So to get that, he may say, well, it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $750 to $1,000 extra for the bigger antique store. The one next to that is the Christian bookstore. It is 1,000 square feet. Retail price should be $1,000. I'm going to tell him we're not paying that. So that looks like probably $500 to $600. I started doing some math last night about our budget and what we do here. For this spot, we pay $1,558. Our bill here for the water is $100. Our electric is $125. That's our little budget. Not too bad. We're making it. But in order to continue to expand our horizon, we need help. We need help. This is what I'm saying. When God called me to ministry, I was only making $250 a week. God didn't ask me to give $100. God asked me to give my $25. He asked me to give my 10%. I did. I did it faithfully. And now today, I make a whole lot more than $250. That's why I don't take a paycheck from this church. And I will never take a paycheck because I don't need it. But what I do is I want to be faithful to God as He is faithful to me. So the deal was this. As God kept increasing my level of prosperity in my career, I kept increasing my giving. Why? Because it was 10%. And so I went from $250 to $500, from $500 to $750. And then when it finally broke $100 in tithes, it was hard for me. I was like, God, that's too much. God said, I can take it back. I said, oh no, Lord, no. It's all good. It's all good. Some of you today may only make $50 a week. God is not asking for $100. God's not asking for $50. He's asking for 10%. That's $5. God may say, well, some of us are making $100. It's only $10. You see what I mean? It's only 10% of what. And He says, as you do this, God will be faithful to you. I don't ever ask you to do something I don't do. I do this every week. And we gave out the tithe, the stewardship reports. You know where you're at. And I gave those to you because I want you to know this is your commitment to God. Not to me, but to God. And so I'm asking you guys to partner with Freedom Church because the deal is this. In order for us to do that, we've got to make this monthly budget of $3,500. We got to get there. And so I believe the Lord is going to help us get there. We were able to buy the new drum set that finally happened, thank God. So that's here finally. The stage is coming, amen. So all this stuff will take some money, but you know, we